aside from the guilt of screwing it up and missing it entirely, the guilt of killing Anakin when maybe there was still a grain of good in him. I wonder if that is part of what the guilt of having killed Anakin.
I would say no. I think that would be more haunting to his continued existence than having killed him. I think what haunts Obi Wan is he's effectively created this monster. He had the majority of influence from taking him as a child and training him as a Padawan to, he just went and killed younglings.
Welcome to the 42 Podcast, where we discuss life together, looking for answers to life, the universe, and, well, everything else. Here are your hosts, Rob and Lindsay.
Good morning, Lindsay.
Hello, Rob. How are ya?
Good. How you doing?
I am super excited for this beautiful Saturday.
It's a little gray still here, but yeah, it's a beautiful Saturday.
I started running again.
Yeah?
And getting back on the bandwagon. I'm intermittent fasting, mostly, and then trying to do keto for the most part when I'm eating and I'm losing weight again, and I can't wait to go running later. And I say run, it's kind of like slogging. It's like, oh, well, look, that's cute, she's trying to run. But it's something, and I'm excited. I feel good. I feel energized and better about myself.
Yeah, something is better than nothing. Yeah.
But you have,
Yeah,
COVID.
I have COVID.
Again?
I know, this is the first time.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've played the horrible game of hide and seek or tag or whatever you want to call it, and I have done so well. And then COVID, which is horrible because, like, beginning of the week, I was like, oh, it's allergies. You know, we went down to my daughter's riding lessons, and it was in the barn, and when I went into the barn, my sinuses just went, boom, I hate you. And I do have a slight hay allergy, like grass and hay. So I was like, all right, it's my allergies. My allergies are horrible. Spent 2 days thinking that, and Wednesday it started feeling like a sinus infection. I was going, all right, maybe this is something. Came home Thursday, Mel, her internships are done, and she's in this off period. And she just looked horrible. She had a slight fever, and it was just, oh, crap, this might be COVID. So we tested, and whew, that test lit up like a Christmas tree. It's like, hello, COVID. So.
You look good, though. You sound different. You sound a little sick, but you don't look sick.
I've got, like, I think everyone feels this, but, you know, you get a cold, and you're like, ooh, my voice has gone sexy. But I hate having colds. Yeah, that's how I feel. And I mean, it feels like a bad cold. I haven't run a fever. I had some aches Wednesday, but I also did some more physical activity than I've been used to for a bit. Mm-hmm. So it was, okay, I might have just strained myself this morning. No, wasn't that.
Well, I hope you guys feel better.
Yeah, Mel's a little more lively today. She actually decided to wake up. So.
Oh, good.
Nah, she's okay. She was up a couple times, but she spent the day just napping yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids are, you know, they keep eyeballing me like, you stay over there, Dad.
So, between you and Mel, which one of you is the baby when it comes to being sick? Like, which one of you can't handle being sick, doesn't function well, and wants to be waited on hand and foot?
For the sanctity of my marriage, I'm going to decline.
But you said she doesn't listen to this podcast. She doesn't listen. It'll be months.
She's
Come
trying to
on.
catch up. She is trying to catch up now that internship in school is over. So for the sanctity of my marriage, and so that you continue to have a podcast partner who doesn't get buried in the garden on the side of the house, I'm going to decline answering.
Oh. Well. Yeah.
I'll admit this. When I get sick normally, I am like Walking Dead sick. Like, I have to be really bad to be off my feet.
Mhm.
So.
As a mother, nobody cares when I'm sick. Nobody cares. So you just plug through. But if Colby's here and I'm sick, oh yeah, I am. Okay, bye, Colby. You got this. Because it's such like a treat. But when he's sick and he stays home from work, he doesn't have anything to do per se, so he can just chill. And I get jealous and I'm cranky. I get cranky when he's sick. Actually, the first couple years of my marriage, I would be nice to him for like a day if he was sick. But after that, I got angry and grumpy. But I'm starting to realize that about myself and being more gracious and just being nice to him.
There was a couple years back, there was an episode where I thought I had the flu. And I gotta power through this. I gotta be on my feet. There are a few things that with work where it was, I can't miss this. I have to be there. And so, I was downing Tylenol and decongestants, and I don't remember what else. Just, okay, I gotta be vertical. I gotta do this. And it was right over Christmas.
Oh, man.
And, Mel even remembers the Christmas photo we took that year for Christmas Eve, where it was, yeah, you were there, but not really. And it's, yeah, okay, I was in a drug-fueled haze, is the best way to put it, where it was just, I don't know how many decongestants I was taking, but I was not holding up well. But a week later, I finally caved and said, yes, fine, maybe sleeping for a whole week is not a good thing, let's go to the doctors. And I had double lung pneumonia, and my O2 was like 90%. Man. And doctor's like, yeah, you go 1 or 2 percentage points lower and you're getting hospitalized.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a fun one. And then come February of that year, it was like 2 months later, I had a worship class with seminary.
Mm-hmm.
And I still didn't have a voice from that pneumonia. And it was just, that was fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But such is life.
I want to drop a quick line just to remind people to start thinking about getting Seven Eves by Neil Anderson, our next book club book. Because it's longer, we're going to put off our book club episode until August, like the first weekend of August, hopefully, or something like that. So you have 2 months to read it. It's plenty of time, Check that out on Amazon or eBay or wherever you buy your books. Better World Books is a really great place to shop for books online, and Thrift Books is a great way to shop for your books as well. You can probably find it for like $3 or $4. Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Do what?
Oh my gosh.
What? Do what?
Sorry, you said Thrift Books, which is great, but I don't know why, but that like triggered one of those childhood memories.
Mm-hmm.
There was this great secondhand bookstore that we would go to. Mom would love to go furniture shopping, and one of the places she would stop, just on the other side in the next plaza over, was this secondhand bookstore. And we would all go in there, and just, 6 of us would just, boom, spread out everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, that just brought back memories and the smell of books, and,
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. I joke that if we ever went anywhere in Europe or like wherever we travel, it's really a secondhand bookstore
Vacation.
Yeah, like we are going to explore all the secondhand bookstores in the United States, and we'll see what, like maybe if the Grand Canyon's around there too. Okay, we'll go see the Grand Canyon, but it's really about the secondhand bookstores, those cool mom and pop places.
Bookstore first, so I can read and the kids can play in the canyon, right?
Yeah.
I'll sit on
Don't
the
get too
glass
close to the
bridge so I
edge.
can watch down, you know.
Yeah. Exactly. What are you reading right now for fun?
So I am still, frustratingly, reading Infinite Jest.
It's sounding less and less funny all the time.
I mean, it's interesting. It's fascinating. I want to finish it, but it's just, okay, 2 months is way too long. I want to be done. Like, It's not, it's weird. I don't remember what I just started reading, the title of it, but it's a Mr. Rogers book. Where in Pennsylvania, we celebrate the 143rd day as Mr. Rogers Day because he used this code, 143, which is I love you. That's how many, it's 1 letter, 4 letters, 3 letters. So that was a very big Mr. Rogers thing. So we celebrated that. I was like, all right, let's read a Mr. Rogers book. In 2 weeks, I quoted him 2 times in a children's message and in a sermon. So it's all right. Should maybe actually read something more with Mr. Rogers. I've read a few books on and about him in the past, so it makes sense.
Cool.
So, yeah, that's what I'm reading. Although, all right, I know we have other things to talk about, but I'm getting ready to go on vacation. And do you plan out your vacation reads?
It's usually whatever I'm reading, and then the next 2 books I will planning on reading anyway. But
Really?
do you have specific vacation books?
Yes, I do.
What? Tell me all about that.
Okay, so I have one book that is actually specific this vacation book. Okay, so anytime I have gone to Disney, I've read this book right before we go on vacation.
Wait, let me guess. Is it Fight Club?
No, it's not Fight Club. Well, why would I read Fight Club before
I don't know, 'cause
Disney?
it's weird, and it's... Oh, no, wait, hold on. Ready Player One.
There it is.
Yeah.
Ready Player One every time before I go on vacation. And that was... So when we went to Disney for the first time in 2016, was the first time I read Ready Player One. Pastor at church, she's like, oh, you haven't read this? You need to read this. She puts the book in my hand. It's like, all right, I'll check it out. And it was 2 days before vacation. We were going to drive straight down. We were getting up at 2 a.m. to drive straight down to Disney. So it's 2 or 3 days before. I have an hour in the evening that's free. So I pick this book up and I start reading. And I put it down and it's 8 a.m. It's, oh crap. That's one of those books. Because I couldn't put it down.
Cool.
So that's one of those books that's okay, before vacation, I'm just going to read it. I'm just going to embrace what is apparently my love of that book.
Cool. That's a neat tradition.
Yeah. And I'm getting things like Harry Potter put onto the queue, so I have that for the drive down because I'm trying to get Melinda to read that. My daughter started reading it. So I'm the only one in my house who has read the Harry Potter books.
Oh, man.
Everyone's
I
like,
think
oh, but the movies are just fine. No, they're not.
I think I've listened to the first book 6 times. Between reading it and then listening it. I listened to it one summer. I listened to almost the entire series while I was mowing the lawn at my old house. I would mow the lawn and listen to Harry Potter. And then listening it again with the kids in the car and things. So I've, it's just 3 times, but I'm kind of ready to move on from the first one, actually. I'm excited for them to keep going. But that's cool.
Yeah, so I do a little planning and strategy with my vacation reads. I try to. And then I get to vacation and I don't always get to do it. But it's something I think about. So, alright, anyway. Enough. We're actually here for a reason and a purpose.
Very specific one.
Yeah. What was your first impression
You first. I don't want to go first, because whatever I say, you're going to be unhappy.
I'm phrasing the question, all right? I'll answer first, okay? But let me phrase the question. At the end of the episode, the first episode of Obi Wan, how did you feel? What was your impression of the show? Okay? This is the question. At the end of the episode, I wanted more. Like, I felt like that first episode just gave me enough to say I'm in. Which I was already in, so I wanted more to begin with. I just wanted more of more.
Yeah.
And that first episode, I'm going to highlight this real quick so we can move on. I definitely jumped up and down, yelling like a maniac, even with the COVIDs, in excitement, because there's that one scene where Leia runs back inside the house, and then they cut, and there's this bald guy standing in the shadows of the woods. Do you remember that?
Yeah. You thought it was Mace.
I thought it was Mace. I was so happy I got something right. And then Star Wars said, no, you didn't.
She doesn't get a Jedi Watcher. Isn't that sad? So sexist.
I'm still not sold on that.
I mean, there might be someone there that Bail doesn't know about, I suppose, and maybe that would protect Bail if he didn't know.
Okay,
but
look, hold on. Let's also be honest on this. With what they have done in Obi-Wan, Leia does not need a Jedi Watcher. She's already pretty intense.
Yeah, but she still got kidnapped.
Yeah, and then she drove the kidnappers crazy and was working on getting her way out.
It still would have been better if she didn't get kidnapped.
I'm mixed on this. I'm thinking on that. Not entirely sold on the plot line they're going with. I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
Underwhelming, a little bit. But, so what it's reminding me of is The Last of Us.
Okay, yeah.
Obi-Wan is broken.
Yeah.
He's hurting. He's Joel. And now here's this little girl who is fresh and reminds him so much of his person,
Yeah.
Anakin. And you know the story is going to go that she sort of helps resuscitate him and bring him back to life, and maybe forgive himself, forgive Anakin, who knows, but it's very much the Last of Us sort of plot, which is very sort of generic, I think, but still, that's really what it's reminding me of.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, it is very much, I mean, you see it with Obi-Wan, where he's in hiding. He is in hiding from himself, which is pretty intense, especially when, I gotta admit, how they open with the Inquisitors landing on the planet and then going and looking for the Jedi. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're looking for Obi-Wan? That's not Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And it's this little, I get it. It's a little kind of MacGuffin where it's, you're so close but so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm chewing on how I feel about it. Like, I don't hate the series. I want to watch more of the series. And I see where they're going to, I see where they're taking broken Obi-Wan and they're going to turn him Alec Guinness Obi-Wan. And I get that. I don't know. I feel like I want more.
I want Obi-Wan. I don't want him to be Alec Guinness, but I want him to be Obi-Wan pre all this drama, but one who has learned from his mistakes.
That's Alec Guinness.
I don't agree, but I don't know. Maybe, I guess. I don't know. But
so I say that's Alec Guinness because we have to have a context where, because it's a gaping hole in the later trilogy of, from a certain perspective, your father was dead to me. But I know he's Vader, and I know he's your father. So there has to be some kind of encounter between Obi-Wan and Anakin that just confirms or solidifies that Anakin is truly dead to Obi-Wan. Because they even finish it with, it was really interesting how they did this. And I enjoyed this, but like Obi-Wan's dream sequence and summary that they start, where it's, oh wow, they actually made that into a nightmare. Like, I think of those prequel trilogies, and I'm like, oh, light and fluffy and hope-filled, and then it comes crashing down. But they summarized it in such a way that I was like, oh, that's horrifying.
So, I know they had like a catch you up thing at the beginning of the first episode. What do they call that?
Summary.
Summary. Yeah. The thing. I don't know if Padme said it then, or if she said it in the nightmare. There's still good in him, Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? Was that in the nightmare, or was that in the...
I think that was in the catch you up.
Okay, well, I think that's important to... What?
But
Yep. Obi-Wan doesn't know he's alive. But maybe that's part of the reason he feels so guilty, is that he feels like he killed Anakin when there was still a little bit of good in him. I wonder if that's part of the guilt. Aside from the guilt of screwing it up and missing it entirely, the guilt of killing Anakin when maybe there was still a grain of good in him. I wonder if that is part of what the guilt of having killed Anakin.
I would say no. I think that would be more haunting to his continued existence than having killed him. I think what haunts Obi-Wan is he's effectively created this monster. He had the majority of influence from taking him as a child and training him as a Padawan to, he just went and killed younglings. So I found this interesting.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm down with COVID, I actually did catch up with to where I wanted to be this week, only because I had nothing to do yesterday but stare at walls. I caught up with and finished Bad Batch and Solo, so I was right in timeline for Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into Rebels. And in Rebels, Ezra finds that holocron. It was in the first or second episode. He unlocks it, and it's Obi-Wan giving a message of hope.
Yes.
To the Jedis in exile. And that feels very different than Obi-Wan in Return of the Sith, or Revenge of the Sith, and very different than Obi-Wan in Obi-Wan. Like, I feel like there's no hope in that period.
Yes.
I'm curious to see how that plays out. Although I have to say, I loved them in episodes 1 through 3. And I love how they're, building on and fleshing out the character more. But Bail Organa.
I love Bail.
And what he's doing with Leia, like that scene where Leia runs up with her mother and, where was she? And she was off watching ships and he goes, well, okay, what ships did you see? And she's listing them, and he goes, oh, that sounds like a ranger hunting pirates. And she's like, I know exactly what I thought. That scene, I was like, yes!
It's so cute.
It's such a father thing to do with a daughter. Because it's, I've done that.
I really like that. I really like them.
Ultra nerd alert. That scene where, Leia is in the tree listing off the ships. And she's like, oh, that's a and then she lifts off, oh, that's a tri-wing. Do you know what the tri-wing is?
Nope.
Okay. It's a collaboration, real-world collaboration of design between Star Wars and Porsche.
Cool.
Porsche wanted to design a ship for Star Wars. They did this back in, I think it was like 19, and said it will be in a future project of Star Wars.
A tri-wing?
Yeah, and as far as I know, this is the first time that the tri-wing has appeared in universe. So, neat little rabbit trail there.
Colby said that she's wearing an outfit that later on in the main stories she's wearing. That's what... I didn't catch it. I didn't notice it that she's wearing something that's
almost.
Yeah.
She's wearing an outfit, and I caught this. Maybe it's a guy thing. Oh my gosh.
I'm shocked.
Like, I never noticed fashion, but I noticed this because it's like, oh, that's like the jungle outfit she wore in episode 6, because she even had her hair done in almost the same way. It was like the jungle poncho. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I love Alderaan. I want more Alderaan.
Alderaan is like the idyllic utopia that they want to portray, because you have, which is interesting, because you have Naboo that is like that utopia in the first ones where they keep going back to it, but it never quite feels right. It always feels like there's something,
well, poisonous about the world. Yeah, because there's
Alderaan,
racism. You know, there's like civil unrest between the Gungans and.
Yeah, that's true. But Alderaan always feels like it was held up as this utopia, but we've never exactly seen it. You know, Addie was like, what? Oh, I was watching it with the kids, and Ad was like, oh, it was when Bail Organa said someday someone will, or there will be groups of people shouting your name, referring to Leia being a politician or something. And I jokingly went, yeah, as the Death Star is rising over the planet and blowing it up, and Adeline's like, oh, that's so dark. And sorry, she's there. The planet goes boom. We know this. That fact layers into every single line of dialogue in that whole part. You know. I know.
So, yeah, I would love to read more about Alderaan. Yeah, and like, do we know for sure if her parents were on the planet? And did she have friends on the? Does she have friends? And yeah, I just want to know more about that, about what Alderaan was like and what her family situation was like more during that period. And why did she end up doing what she's doing?
I feel like it's been confirmed somewhere that her parents were on planet when it went boom.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't know where. I could be wrong on that. Might be in a comic. Yeah, I'd have to think. But yeah.
So.
Go ahead.
No, I kind of am interested in what you have to say, but I've got some things to say too as we go on.
Well, ask the questions. This is a conversation, or give feedback, and
I know
I'll
I tend
tell
to
you how
derail
you're
things
wrong.
Or fast forward things way to the future, and then you're like, bah, we were going to get there like in an hour from now.
Actually, okay, you know what? Fine. We're going to derail. I'm going to derail you. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
The music of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Can we talk about this?
Yes.
Okay. How did you feel with the music of Obi Wan?
It was good because I didn't notice it.
Really?
Didn't really. I was really looking. I was really using my eyeballs a lot more than any other sense, I think. Than really noticing the audio, which is weird. So maybe the second time through I'll have to pay attention more. But it was good. So I'm sorry. I didn't really notice.
Huh.
No.
Sorry, music is one of those things. And I learned this because of M. Night Shyamalan.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember The Village?
Oh yeah, I remember. And I paid attention to the music because it was super remarkable and like almost a character in the film.
And there's only one scene in that whole movie that makes you jump, but you know it. And why do you know it? Why do you know that one scene is going to make you jump before you jump? Even when you get there and you jump, how do you know you're going to jump?
Because there's no music.
It's the music. And it's not that there is no music. The music cues you into that space.
Yeah.
And then leaves you right there. And you're like, oh no. And the moment you think, and then it's a half second later that it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, from that, it's one of those things that I try to cue into where it's, okay, what's the music telling me? The music is communicating to me something that's happening. It wants me to feel where things are at. Not a thing. I think
it is. But if it was very it's mostly sort of a subliminal thing, unless it's very remarkable, which I
Okay.
don't think it really super was. It was just setting a mood for sure. Like I just was like going along with it, but it was sort of like fluffy background to the scene. Like I didn't notice, but I mean, so.
Well, let me ask you this. Did you watch the trailer that came out yesterday?
Whatever was on Disney Plus. Okay, no, I did not. No.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and go to
Oh, the one for Andorus or Andis or Andy?
Andor.
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 I haven't watched it yet. Colby said it looks good though.
Oh my gosh. All right. Go to YouTube. All right. I can send you the link. Would you prefer that?
No, I can do it. What's it called? Andor?
Andor. Andor. Okay.
Yes.
5 minutes later.
Cool. That sounds amazing.
And we only have to wait until August for that. Okay.
Yes.
Now, one of the things I loved with that, and I watched that before I went into and watched Obi Wan, and maybe this is even part of the reason I was like extra keyed up for the music, is how they start that.
Well, yeah, you plug right into the culture and the attitude and the feeling of the protagonist of the film, for sure.
Well, not just that, but I mean, even how the music plays up and builds. So, you get that scene, the guy goes up there and
The
he...
solitary
and then-
drum, yeah.
Yeah, he poses and, bell, that's a chime. And then he pounds on that thing in such a way, and it brings in, this dark, melodic note that you're like, yay, okay. But then it's just that, I'm doing it badly.
Yeah,
but that
the tribal
chant in the background.
yep.
Yeah. And that keeps going. And then they start running, and you get to that guy who's using the chime to alert other people,
Yeah,
and that then plays in. And they build the music in such a way as the story is progressing.
Yeah.
And that's part of the beauty that is Star Wars, that I love going back to and rewatching and even re-listening to the music of, because they're not wasting a piece of story in the music. They bring in the Imperial March, and there's about to be this kind of revealing of a bad guy or a dark moment that you need to take note of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even in the music of Obi-Wan, it's almost, it doesn't have like a direction yet.
That's why I didn't notice it, I think.
But isn't that what Obi-Wan is trying to do?
Yes, but that's why I didn't notice
He exists. But that's
Right.
just it. It will build. And
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is the storytelling elements that I love with Star Wars.
Well,
because
he
they
seems
really
so-
have leaned into it.
He's lost. He's so lost. Like that scene where, can't remember where he is. I think he's on the city world, wherever he is in the city. And he's just
That's
standing
episode
there.
2.
Oh, okay.
You're skipping ahead.
Well, that's that part where he's just standing there.
I mean, we could do episode 1 and episode 2 today. Do you want to?
Well, just hold on. I mean, well, that was the impression I got, was he's lost. He seems so
Yeah.
lost and unsure of himself, and I don't know. So that's kind of what I felt.
And consider this. I mean, when did you see, like, Obi-Wan went out into the desert and got the lightsabers, remember?
Yeah.
Did you see him ignite it?
No.
But he had it.
Yes. But he didn't ignite it because he doesn't want to.
Why?
Because he doesn't want to be a Jedi. He isn't a Jedi. He doesn't feel like a Jedi. He's not Obi-Wan. He's Ben now. That's it. He's not Obi-Wan. Because remember?
But here's the great thing. He is addressing things, whether he realizes it or not, on being a Jedi. So the first encounter he has going out into the wider world since exiling himself onto Tatooine. What's the first encounter he has?
Just tell me. I don't like guessing.
Clone Trooper.
Oh, yeah. Giving the clone trooper the money, yeah.
And he's standing there eyeballing the clone trooper.
Like, I could know you.
Which,
You could be someone I fought with.
but also, he, in that moment, he's like, okay, master, if there's any moment to give me guidance, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, there's a clone trooper. Irony?
I think it's interesting they didn't do anything with that. Qui-Gon never...
Well, I think they will. I think that will start happening episode 3 or 4.
Oh.
That we will get a moment where Qui-Gon is like, hey, I'm here.
Well, he has
this is what you need to do.
They're kind of building to that, to him being back in touch with the Force, but because he hasn't used the Force. He hasn't used the Force at all in a long time.
Right. It's that same pattern that they're doing with Luke that they did in the original trilogies.
What's that?
Where it's, well, your magic space wizard dies and then gets back in touch with you.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. But they're doing it as the Force is growing with you. So as Obi Wan reconnects, we'll get a moment. I really think we will, where we hear Qui-Gon. But go ahead, sorry.
Well, it's just that I don't think you can really understand. I'm sure you understand, but it's hard for people to understand what's happened to Obi Wan unless you know how much the Force was a part of him.
Right, and I think that's why they're portraying it the way they are.
He's not Obi Wan without the Force and without the Jedi. Right,
and that's why I said, like, episode 1, at the end of it, left me wanting more.
Mm-hmm.
But wanting more because I already know. Or I've assumed, let's put it that way. I've assumed that he's already broken down. And that there's some kind of leap that we have to make from...
Yes.
Exiled Obi-Wan to even Rebels Clone War Obi-Wan to Alec Guinness Obi-Wan.
Yes.
And I think we begin to see that in episode 2 because, he's faced with that clone trooper. And that's just a little moment of that past trauma, that trust issue. But who's the second person he has an encounter with? Which was just fun. I enjoyed that character. The fake Jedi.
Oh, yes. He was fun. Yes. Yes.
And what's his name? Blanking on the actor's name.
He was surprising.
Sorry,
His story arc was surprising.
I liked it.
Me too. It's not what I thought. I thought he was tricking him to the last, but...
I did too. So, I was thrown. But I appreciated what they're doing with it. Sorry, I really want to know the actor's name. What's the actor's name? But no, him being confronted with the fake Jedi, how much of that is an underlying feeling for him? I'm a fake Jedi.
Yes.
I didn't cut it. And the actor's name was... I'm going to butcher this. Kamil Najani? Kumal Najani. I don't know. I'm sorry for how I'm butchering that, but
he was good.
He's great. I've seen him in a couple other things. He's always a goofball in them. But I appreciate how he is that goofball, and he helps bring in, that continued rotation of the story. So
something that doesn't make sense to me, in light of everything we just said about where Obi-Wan is, and the fact that even when he met the Jedi, the exiled Jedi guy in the desert, when he's riding his not camel thing.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just them in the desert. And the Jedi shows him the lightsaber and he still says his name's Ben. And he doesn't say he doesn't ever acknowledge really, and the fact that he denies who he is, even to this guy.
That hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah. And so taking that into consideration, and then when he's confronting Lars, and he says, Luke has to be trained. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Because why? He can't even acknowledge he's still Obi-Wan. And why would he even want to think about protecting, yes, but training Luke? It doesn't make sense when you line up all the other things that Obi-Wan's going through right now.
To me, it's how broken he is. Like him continuing to deny who he is and to hide even from that other Jedi. That's how broken Obi-Wan is. He's not there to help.
But to me, wanting to train Luke is sort of grasping who he used to be. That is grasping who he used to be, because he used to train. You know, he's not a Jedi, so how can he have a Padawan? You know what I mean?
Right. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed, because it leaves you unsatisfied. It leaves you hanging.
He never does train Luke. He decides not to. At some point, he stops asking Owen. So I think there's going to be a scene where Owen says, "You're right, you can train Luke," and I think Obi-Wan's going to change his mind about training Luke.
You know what else it brings into problem just a bit further, and I didn't connect this, but Obi-Wan is rescuing, and it looks like he's going to be journeying with Princess Leia.
Right.
Like, that's the arc it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
That we're going to spend the next 4 episodes getting from where they are to
Back to
Alderaan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in episode 5, you've got Yoda and Obi-Wan talking, and he's our only hope. And Yoda's like, no, there is another. Is Obi-Wan that closed off to the Force that he doesn't pick up on Leia's Force abilities? And they show it right there in the beginning, in that first episode, where she's looking at her cousin and is like, oh,
Yeah.
you feel fear and are.
And she does the same thing later to Obi-Wan.
Right. Where she's very in tuned with it in such a way that she's picking up on what people think and feel and process, which is going to probably come into the story for how she helps him move past everything that is his past trauma and become Alec Guinness Obi-Wan to, I don't know.
Yeah. I think I'm glad they're spending more time with Leia, because I think it's sexist. I think originally it was just pretty sexist that they didn't pay attention to Leia and it was all about Luke. And like, Leia doesn't have any Force powers really. Like in the book, she doesn't really have much. She's you know, Luke sort of tries to train her as an adult, but it never really pans out much. And at least the books I've read, that, you know, that didn't get too far into it. So I'm glad they're spending time on it and making Leia a real person.
Well, the thing with Leia has always been she's a little more intuitive than she is swinging a sword, slashing him up Jedi.
And that's definitely being developed now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because physically she's small. She's not, and she's no...
Oh, come on. Yoda's tiny.
I don't know why Yoda's different, but Yoda's different. Yoda shouldn't be different, but
Yoda's different because he's a puppet, but still.
Well, I mean, and she comes off as a princess still, like more of a Jasmine type princess than a like, I don't know. She's just, they're setting her up to be talky, to be.
I like what they're doing with it. I think they're going to have to do some gymnastics to resolve some canon issues they may be creating.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. And I also think if, in order for this to follow the films, this is the only time Luke and Leia and Obi-Wan connect to each other. Yeah, because when we...
Well, this is a one-off series. They're not doing it again.
Oh, I know, but...
This is it.
I mean, what I meant was, in their lives, this is the only time they can come in contact, because much later, she's, like, thinking back as if... It's not like they're still friends, you know? They don't keep going the relationship, or they're not friends, per se, because when she tries to get in touch with him, it doesn't seem like that.
Well... And I was thinking about that yesterday, because you have what is A New Hope, you know, help me Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else around him knows him as Old Ben, or Ben. but she uses Obi Wan Kenobi.
Mm.
So there is they could somehow keep that element that she knows who he truly is.
Yeah.
And even going back into Rogue One,
Mm-hmm.
where Bail Organa and Mon Mothma are talking, and it's, we could reach out to my old friend, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And yes, I have someone who I would trust with my life to get in contact with him. So it's, okay, they're building something that implies that maybe there's some form of continued minimalist connection, or at least a knowledge of each other.
Mm-hmm.
But that again brings me back to that conversation on Dagobah in the swamp with Yoda and Obi-Wan. He was our only hope. No, there is another.
That was pretty good.
That's what I get for COVID voice.
I am Yoda.
Yoda, I am. No, that was bad. That wasn't.
Yoda, I am.
No, that's bad. I'm gonna quit now. So I don't know. There will be some continuity questions. There's always continuity questions. Yay, we put out a Star Wars thing. Oops, we missed a small detail somewhere
Mm-hmm.
that a giant community of nerds will find.
Yeah.
How have we made them unhappy today? No. But that's the risk of creating anything that's a
Unestablished
cultural
thing, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm still hoping, there are 4 episodes, I'm still hoping that we get Mace Windu.
They're going to have to change something about her security.
I want Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to find Mace Windu. What if they found Rex? Although, at this point, Rex is involved with... No, Rex is in exile, because this is pre-Rebels.
Isn't
so
he on that
never mind.
desert thingy? On that crawler thing?
Yeah, he's out in the desert with Wolf and Gregor.
Yeah.
So this is pre-Rebels. Never mind. Rex isn't viable, but I want Mace Windu. I want Mace. I don't care about anybody else. Just bring Mace in on this.
Yeah. Maybe he'll surprise
Yeah, I got
us.
really excited because I definitely thought that was Mace initially. I was like, yes, I was right. I predicted the whole arc of the... Shoot, I was wrong.
Mm.
So happy with myself. I should have known better.
Okay, we need to talk about the Grand Inquisitor now.
Not dead yet.
I was
I
very
feel better.
underwhelmed. And yeah, he can't be dead. because
Really?
He shows up in Rebels. I didn't like his voice. He was underwhelming. He did not have the gravitas that any other villain in Star Wars has.
See, I feel like that's kind of the point of the Grand Inquisitor.
No, in the cartoons, he's scary.
The cartoons he is, but look at who you're dealing with in the cartoon in Rebels against who you're dealing with in Obi-Wan.
I don't see how there should be a difference because he just has a scary voice or has a good sense of physical scariness or he doesn't.
The caliber of Jedi, how about that?
And I also don't really understand why they would pick the dregs of the Jedi to be Inquisitors. That seems sort of backwards. I don't get that at all. Why even bother using Jedi if they're, like, the guys that didn't make the cut? They're the guys that were the losers. Why? That doesn't make sense to me. If you're going to have
Okay, hold on. Let me ask you something. Okay? Because I think I see where you're going with this, and I think you have a view that is very different than what Star Wars has done. Maybe I'm wrong, all right? But what do you feel like the Inquisitors should be? Like, if you were to write an Inquisitor, what would they be?
They should be like the Green Berets or like the elite, like the Navy SEALs. Because number one, Darth Vader's the guy in charge of them. Would he pick people that were subpar? No, I don't think he would. So, yeah, they should be a lot more intense. And the guy with the funny hat And the girl, the really cool
Third sister.
the third sister, she was good. She had at least like a monomania in her favor, and she was a good fighter. And all the Inquisitor did was I don't know. So tell me, what is it? Why do they not feel good?
The Inquisitors we saw was the Grand Inquisitor, third sister, and fifth brother. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're disposable. The whole philosophy of the Empire is disposable.
It doesn't make sense.
Numbers. Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't. If you want to catch the Jedi, if you want to do something that's difficult, you don't send the guys
military.
that are cannon fodder.
The military, the whole philosophy is disposable. Think about it. In the grand scheme of everything that is Star Wars, they don't even shield the TIE fighters. They just throw TIE fighters at things. They just throw numbers. It's about how many that can be fielded, and that's why they win. There's effective, and then there's numbers. Those are the two ways you win in a military campaign. You have effective troopers.
So why use
who takes
Jedi
a
at
lot
all,
of time.
then? Why use those Jedi? Why use Jedi? Why not just use Stormtroopers? Or like the next brand up? If you're gonna have this sort of mythos around the Inquisitors, then why have them be so inadequate?
Well, think about even the lightsabers that the Inquisitors yield.
That's the scariest thing about them, is the lightsabers.
Because they spin. That's it. Where it's, oh wow, you don't even trust them enough. And this is how I've always looked at the Inquisitors. You don't even trust them enough that their lightsabers don't have a gimmick to it.
I don't like it.
You don't let them be true masters of a lightsaber. You give them a weapon that they can be terrifying with, that they can be effective with, grind people up. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, well, that's lame.
And it's a uniform weapon. Because the Inquisitors, and this is how I've always viewed them, is that they are, like, if you want to go and kill Jedi, you need to just have a bunch of semi-force sensitive people with a lightsaber that works, but it's not truly training them to be effective warriors.
Let's take a second. I know this is in the future, but you know Mon
Mon
No, Gideon.
What?
Gideon. Moff Gideon. The black guy at the end. He had gravitas. He wasn't even scary, but you knew he was deadly serious. Something about him. And his army that he had, that was a cool army that you thought could not fail. This is supposed to sort of be like that. Or it should feel like that because it's trying to do the same thing, but it's not that at all. You know what I mean? Should feel the same way. Like you have no hope. You are doomed. Sorry. Unless Luke comes in and saves your butt, you're dead meat.
There's a difference. There's a big difference.
And Darth Vader's in charge of the Inquisitors. I still don't understand why bother.
Why bother having Vader in charge of the Inquisitors?
Yeah. Why would he want to do that?
Because they're his cannon fodder. It's not that he wanted to. It's what he was given. And it just gives him cannon fodder to throw at the problem until he gets to a Jedi that's killing the Inquisitors. And then, yay, here's a real challenge. I'll go do it.
It's so inefficient and not what a military would do.
But militaries have done it. Xerxes!
But you have a Navy SEAL team. Use it. Militaries have Navy SEALs. They have Green Berets. They have the team that you send in. The team, like the elite of the elite of the elite. All militaries do that. Why aren't they doing it? That's all I'm saying, is that's what it should feel like, and it doesn't.
Because sometimes militaries are battles of literally numbers. Okay? So, you have one Navy SEAL team that costs you $200,000 to train. Okay? Or you have $500 or 500. Blah.
I don't know why this is making me so irritated. This is making me so irritated.
Or you have 500 other regular troops that cost you $100,000 to train and use. Okay?
Then why
You have
not
a
have
problem over
100
here.
sisters and brothers? They only
You
have
have
8.
a problem over... Hold on.
Okay, fine.
You have a problem over here. You need to solve problem. You can use broad force, which is your $100,000, 500 numbered troops, or you can use fine application of soldiers, $200,000, a team of 12, okay? You lose one of those 12. That's a lot of money to replace one guy.
Yes, exactly.
You lose 100 of your 500. That's not so much money to retrain 100 guys.
Okay, exactly. You're proving my point.
Okay.
Because
No, I'm not.
yes,
I'm
you
saying,
are. The Inquisitors
I'm
are functioning as this group of 12 that you don't want to lose. That's what the Inquisitators. They're functioning as the elite group of 12 you don't want to lose. The Stormtroopers are the hundreds of thousands that you can just boop 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 boop, Wilhelm scream, and they're done. You know, but so they're making this Inquisitor team function like they should be elite instead of just sending in random people.
Hang on, I see where we went wrong. All right. Stormtroopers don't hunt Jedi. That's done. Stormtroopers do not hunt Jedi. They're only there as backup and support for the Inquisitors. The Inquisitors are your cheap soldiers to hunt Jedi. Yes, they're more elite and well-trained than your average soldier, and they're specialized within the Empire, but they're the ones who are specifically hunting Jedi to get them. Vader is your special unit. These guys are just the cannon fodder. They're the ones, because do you want to use Vader to be your source of intimidation broadly in the galaxy, who shows up with all of your stormtroopers and a Death Star and strikes fear, or do you use a bunch of Inquisitors who are random cannon fodder? It's application. It's a small force of cannon fodder to go and hunt Jedi who, even as Third Sister says in the beginning of the episode, we're just hunting scraps. Why aren't we hunting the big guy? Why aren't we hunting Kenobi?
Yeah, why aren't they hunting Kenobi? I just don't like it.
I'm going to bet that they're not hunting Kenobi because that's a Vader thing. I want Kenobi.
That's true.
The bigger question is why aren't they hunting Yoda?
Yeah, that's a pretty big plot hole. Why aren't they hunting Yoda?
I'm hoping we get a slight answer to that as well.
They just wrote him off for some reason.
Yeah. Now, again, we know he's in exile. Bail's the only one who knows he's alive, and Obi Wan. So, but I don't know if anybody... Does he say at the end of episode 3 where he's going?
No.
He says exile, he must go. That's it.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was good. I'm enjoying where they're going with it. I still want to see Mace Windu. Like, I would love to see a surprise character. Yay! Mace Windu! I'm scrolling through IMDb just going, did anybody screw up? Did they, post that he's in here? Samuel L. Jackson. Please. Somewhere. I don't know.
Well.
Alright, you seem agitated.
Oh. I was underwhelmed, I think. I am hoping for more. Yeah. I'm excited for the next episode. I liked the second episode better than the first one.
It's building. Well, yeah, because second episode, I mean, what did they finish you with on second episode?
Just getting you going. Like, we're just finally getting going now. So
they gave you the shot that you've been waiting for. Vader.
Oh, yeah. Right. Forgot about that.
Vader in his bacta tank, and you're like, yes? Oh, credits. Thanks. I hate you.
Yep. Things are getting going.
I think the third episode will be a lot better.
I think it's interesting Obi Wan never fights with his lightsaber.
I don't think we're going to see that until he figures out a bit more of who he is.
Obviously, but yes, I mean, that's what I mean. It's like he would have been a lot easier on that rooftop, but he didn't do that.
Well, and think about his final line. to Grievous, or his line right after Grievous, such uncivilized weaponry, and he tosses it down and walks away. And then here we find him with a blaster pistol.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So, I do think he won't turn that thing on until there's a, the owning of I am Jedi kind of thing.
So, he gets paid at his job for cutting tuna or something, whatever the equivalent of that Star Wars fish is. And he steals fish every day, and he gets paid. What is he using that money for? He just puts it in the box.
They showed you that. No, yeah, what?
What did he put the money? What did he do with the money?
The Jawa.
Oh yeah, the parts. Right. Okay.
Well, and what was my son's favorite line of, is if you're going to at least steal from me, you can clean the parts.
Yeah. That was funny.
Yeah, my son cracked up at that, but he's paying for stuff from the Jawa to try and subtly provide and encourage Luke, like the ship. Mm-hmm. Did you recognize that ship?
No, but I knew it was a ship.
I don't remember which kind it is, but in episode 4, A New Hope, that's the one that Luke's sitting there flying in the workshop on Tatooine.
That's cool.
When he's like, I want to go and get power converters from Tashi Station.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ship.
Cute.
Yeah, so little references, we see that he's using it to provide for himself in little ways. He's living a hermit life, but yeah.
It was good. I'm looking forward to more.
I think episode 1 and 2 are laying out the foundation. I think it will be better. I really do. So, but all right, just going to put this out there. You and I made a decision this morning that will affect everyone. Not bad news, but I'm going on vacation. Lindsay's got a vacation as well planned on that, or coming up soon. So we're just going to take 2 weeks off just because of recording schedules and everything. We're going to skip 2 weeks. And I should actually probably figure out what those dates are that we won't have episodes up. I'll let you know next episode. But we're going to skip 2 weeks because we've got vacations. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about vacation.
Yeah.
Like the what's, the whys, the philosophy of why we vacation. Time off, work, rejuvenation, insanity with sanity, all of that fun stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to maybe geek out for a little bit about my vacation.
You have to. Yeah.
I know.
All right.
I know. One of these years when we go, I am going to go to Savvy's workshop and build a lightsaber. One of these years. It's not cheap.
Nothing about Disney World is cheap. It's kind of why I refuse to go.
I know. If I wanted to take my whole family for us to build lightsabers, it's $1,000.
No way in heck.
That's not cheap. Yeah. I struggle with that.
How much is one lightsaber?
$250. I think. Last time I looked at it, it was like $1,000 to go for all 4 of us.
I can't imagine people spending that much money routinely. Besides just getting into the park. And in the hotel, and like you have to, I feel like we have to save for like 5 years.
Yeah, Disney trips are not cheap.
On that note.
Yeah. So, sorry, $219 to build a lightsaber.
Oh, that's more reasonable.
Yeah, so it's only $980?
Yeah, totally.
For a family of 4 to build 4? Yeah.
Totally. I want pictures.
$20 made a huge difference.
Can you send me, can you take a nice picture of the Millennium Falcon for me? Please. Something I can hang up in my studio. You don't have to be in the picture. In fact, I prefer if you're not in the picture.
How about I do that already? Because this is the second time I'm going to Batuu.
Yes.
And I have better pictures when it was less crowded.
Yeah. True.
So, I will send you a picture momentarily.
Okay.
But yes, we're going to talk. We're taking 2 weeks off. We're going to talk about vacations. Ooh. Hey, Ken, I know you're listening to this. Probably cutting your grass and going, why am I listening to Star Wars? But you want to come on and talk travel with us? Since you are the travel nerd that I know. Ken? Yeah. I'm calling you out. And now if you're listening to this, go tell Ken he's talking with us at some point. But, sorry, good friends of mine are big travel. She runs a podcast, What the Nell.
Yeah.
And he's starting to do some travel stuff. He's my coffee person.
Cool.
Yeah. So, I want to pick his brain on travel soon, too, because Mel and I are talking about another Disney trip in a couple years and doing it a bit different, and I want to pick his brain on the flying thing. I don't like flying, but yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to talking to Ken.
Well, I got to get him to say yes first. I don't know if I want to talk to him before this episode comes out or after. Just let him. But yeah, he's a great guy for travel stuff. All right. Enough.
Have a good one.
We'll be back at you next week. Ooh. Last bit of Star Wars. Can we talk about droids next week?
Yeah, we can talk about droids.
Because I want to definitely talk about the psychotic serial killer droids.
I liked Lola.
Yeah.
She was cute.
All right.
I want Lola. Okay, I have to go now.
Yep. Have fun.
I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the 42 podcast. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter to add your voice to the conversation. Thank you.